So as noted, I'm going to discuss the way to happiness real quick here. I already did this in my previous video, dealing with Bryan Johnson. Now what you will notice is that the way to happiness in and of itself is a little bit of a blueprint of itself, so to say. And I'm going to discuss later, what Bryan Johnson does is wonderful, but you don't have to take it to that extreme to get that effect. Like I said in my previous video, there's nothing stopping people from embracing something like the Younger You diet by Kara Fitzgerald and things. So, but here are the 21 precepts of the way to happiness, which is kind of like a blueprint in and of itself. This is why I encourage people to read this book. Personally, I'm more of an 8 Laws of Health guy, but what I want people to understand is this is the ultimate self-care manual, in the sense that it tells you everything you need to do to take care of yourself and maximize your survival and your ability to thrive. So, number 1, take care of yourself, be temperate, don't be promiscuous. So, obviously, take care of yourself, don't be, read the book itself. I'm not going to give it all away. Don't be promiscuous. And I want people to know I'm not a Scientologist. A lot of people do accuse me of that because I defend Scientology. But like I said, as long as Scientology keeps standing up for individuals' rights against the psychiatric and mental health industry, I will continue to encourage people to look into the aspects of L. Ron Hubbard's teachings that are beneficial. And I will defend Scientology in the fact that I don't think that there is proof that the people that defame Scientology, I don't think are giving legitimate proof, frankly. But love and help children, honor and help your parents, set a good example, seek to live with the truth, do not murder, don't do anything illegal, support a government designed and run by the people, or for all people, I should say. Do not harm a person of goodwill. Safeguard and improve your environment. Do not steal. Be worthy of trust. Fulfill your obligations. Be industrious. Be competent. Respect the religious beliefs of others. Try not to do things to others that you would not like them to do to you. That's half of the golden rule. And the other half of the golden rule is try to treat others as you would want them to treat you. 21, flourish and prosper. And I very strongly recommend people read this. As I said, this is its own blueprint in and of itself. It needs a little bit of expansion, and that's why I suggest people read the book. So I want to quickly go over 2 books that were written by Sanford Bennett. Now, Sanford Bennett was a gentleman that literally reversed his age, and it was looked into by investigators from Nature magazine, the scientific journal. So the first one is, of course, Old Age, Its Cause and Prevention, the story of an old body and face made young, and of course, Exercising in Bed, the simplest and most effective system of exercise ever devised. I did a review of Exercising in Bed. I highly encourage people to read these books, and you can read them in archive form. His system was a system of isometric and isotonic methods, and he did a little bit of dumbbell work, very light exercises, and he did make some very good age reversal accomplishments, and I will show you that. So this is a gentleman named E.T. that does a vlog called E.T.'s Ramblings. It's about politics, sports, etc., anything he really wants to talk about. But I found out about Sanford Bennett while learning about Bernard McFadden. So I'm going to play this video and give it a little bit of commentary, and I recommend people check out E.T.'s Ramblings. And here we go.
Hi, this is E.T., and this is Sanford Bennett, an early 20th century health enthusiast who at the age of 50 transformed an...
Now take a note of his face at the age of 50 and at the age of, I believe it's 72. Now what you have to understand here, he didn't simply take photos of himself, which speak for themselves, but more importantly, he was investigated by investigators at Nature magazine, which is a scientific journal, which still exists.
And deteriorating body to a robust, muscular, state of near perfect condition at the age of 68 and beyond. Now, Bennett did this by, well, not medicine, not any elixir of the day, not any so-called health food. He did it with exercise. Now, Bennett wrote about all of this in several books and numerous magazine articles, many of which appeared in the magazine Physical Culture that was published by the once famous Bernard McFadden, predecessor to and much more famous and rich than publishers like Dan Lurie, Bob Kennedy, Perry Rader, Bob Hoffman, or Joe Weider. Bennett's theories regarding exercise predates the decades of later research proving the efficacy of the cleansing effects of aerobic and anaerobic exercise. His protocol was predicated on the results that he and many others achieved by exercise, also good food and sunshine and fresh air, that cured them of malaise, rheumatic symptoms, dyspepsia, and other minor ailments, all characteristic of old age. In other words, Bennett did not need a double-blind, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed study when simple observations of himself and others confirmed the obvious. His oft-repeated point was this: anyone who systematically and persistently practices rigorous muscle contraction will achieve, without doctors, medicine, and so on, optimum health identified by elasticity and strength of muscle and overall vitality, all characteristic of youth. That is something sought by alchemists for millennia, but in fact by virtually anyone. In other words, no Ponce de Leon needed. The fountain of youth is available to you and me anywhere. Bennett said that he possessed at the age of 68 and later muscular development, strength, elasticity of muscle, these are his words, such as I never had in the best days of my early manhood.
Now, these are examples of Sanford Bennett's exercises. It's important to note that the model performing the exercise is not Sanford Bennett himself, but here we go. This is Gregory, Jonathan Green, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to see. I don't see who it is, but these are the exercises. As you can see, they were not very aggressive exercises, so you don't have a big risk of harming yourself. Now, I'm not going to wait this whole video out, but the reason I want to show this to you is that it is my personal opinion that the very aggressive exercises that Bryan Johnson personally does, the aggressive aerobic exercise and stuff like that, there are benefits, but there are also extreme risks. I personally believe that a light exercise program that can be sustained daily is far better than one where you risk harming yourself. I also think that too much of a good thing, too much exercise, there is going to be a curve. I believe Bryan Johnson actually mentions this. You can start to overstress your body. You have to remember, exercise, like pretty much everything else that anti-ages you, works through hormesis. So it's the body's adaptation to the stress applied to it. And in my opinion, you don't really need that much stress, especially when you're taking the phytonutrients and things of that nature, which are required to, well, they do the same thing. It's chemohormesis. It causes hormesis through the chemicals in the plants. And I'm going to move on here, but as you can see, these exercises are not aggressive. They're not going to hurt you. This is basically like Tai Chi Chuan that works. Moving forward. Now, the most complete method of improving the health, I believe, is the practice of yoga. Okay? And here we have Yogi Ramacharaka. Now, Yogi Ramacharaka was actually a white dude from Maryland named Watkins. However, what's important to understand is these books are very digestible, and the information within these books is very good information. So you have an advanced... Now, the thing is, what people don't understand with yoga is a complete blueprint, again, in and of itself, if you're following the proper diet and things of that nature. So an advanced course in yoga philosophy or yogi philosophy and Oriental occultism. As you can see, it just goes Hatha Yoga, or the yogi philosophy of physical well-being with numerous exercises. Hindu Yoga Science of Breath, a complete manual of Oriental breathing, philosophy, and of physical, mental, psychic, and spiritual development. Inner Teachings of the Master, The Life Beyond Death, blah, 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 Science of the Breath. You can see this is yoga in and of itself is a complete system of wellness, if you will, or of cultivating wellness. So, in my opinion, as somebody that has experimented, or I should say thrived on a high-protein vegan diet, and almost did himself in on a low-protein vegan diet, I believe that every vegan would benefit from following a diet for vegans by bodybuilders. And as I previously noted, the eating a plant-based diet does correlate to a longer life. The science is in. It's more or less undeniable, but what is a vegan bodybuilding diet? Bodybuilders strive to develop blah, 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 nutrition, blah, 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 blah. So protein intake should be rather high at 0.7 to 1.0 grams per pound of body weight. Now, if you remember, 1 gram per pound of body weight is required to reverse sarcopenia. So it's also required to prevent sarcopenia. So a calorie surplus of 10 to 20% is also beneficial for gaining muscle. The thing is, you don't need a calorie surplus if you're trying to maintain your weight. In fact, I would recommend not having a calorie surplus and still restricting calories a tiny bit. Undereating is going to benefit you a lot more than overeating. Okay, so slight undereating with supplementation or caloric restriction with optimal nutrition is going to be of far better benefit than would overeating. The vegan bodybuilding diet is devoid of all animal products and higher in protein than traditional vegan diets. This presents a challenge for bodybuilders following a vegan diet, as plant-based proteins tend to be lower. Now, this idea of low-quality proteins, this is baloney. Okay, basically every high-protein vegan food, I did this already. If you have 3 servings of black beans, which I have at every meal when I have black beans, 3 cups of black beans is more than enough for your amino acids for the day. It's a matter of looking at what's actually in the goddamn food. Now, I do recommend supplementing with taurine and carnitine, which are 2 amino acids that are present in animal products that you can get through supplements that may or may not be of benefit to vegans. They seem to be of benefit to vegans, and especially for the heart. But, like I said, the vegan bodybuilding diet also changes during different stages of bodybuilders' life, blah, 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 blah. So, how to implement the diet? While implementing a vegan diet may seem quite simple, it takes a good deal of planning. No, not really. Fill up on protein-rich plant foods. When following a vegan bodybuilding diet, it's important to get enough protein to aid your muscle building. Now remember, I talk about this all the time. If you eat 6 cups of Brussels sprouts, which I have done and which I do on a fairly frequent basis, you're going to get 30 grams of protein. Okay, you're going to add methionine-rich foods in there at another meal, something like that. But I recommend taking protein shakes as well. Considering that many vegan protein sources usually do not contain all, that's not true, they don't contain all the essential amino acids. They don't contain very high levels of certain ones, particularly methionine. Methionine is one that you may, which is why I take essential amino acids. But so make sure you eat enough fat. What I would recommend with this, you're going to get a sufficient amount of fat especially, but make sure your fat's coming from healthy sources like canola oil, olive oil, pumpkin seeds, things like that. Drink plenty of fluids, yada, yada, yada. Everybody knows this stuff, but you can read this on your own if you want. This is from Healthline. I would recommend people read this on their own. So this is Dr. Brooke Goldner's detox protocol. Check it out when you get a chance. You're more than welcome to look into this. Join the plant-based revolution. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Now, this is from the China Study Guys diet, T. Colin Campbell's website, which is nutritionstudies.org. And what I want people to understand here, check this out here. So, Brooke Goldner is famous because she created a diet that reverses autoimmune diseases. So why do we get sick? Genetics first environment. So in medical school, she was taught about genetics. You can read this on your own. It's going to discuss epigenetics and things of that nature, or nutrigenomics, and very good stuff. So you can get healthy one step at a time. This is what people need to understand. You can get healthy one step at a time. In her book, Goodbye Lupus, she teaches in detail how the 6 steps to reversing autoimmune disease with supermarket foods saved her life. It truly is a simple, and I recommend people read about or watch her video. It's a very touching story about, she really didn't think she had a long time. And there was this dude that wanted to date her. I think the dude's her husband now. And that's what got her to figure out how to implement this way of healing herself. And it was a really, really nice story because he said he didn't care that she had a short time to live. He wanted to spend his time with her. And that's what got her to do what she did. So if you're super motivated and prefer a sprint over long distance running, you can take on all 6 steps and change your diet all at once. That's what I suggest people should do, but whatever. If you have difficulty embracing too much change at once, you can take this one step, blah, 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 blah. So read her book. So the 6 steps: 1, eliminate animal products. Animal products include all types of meat, okay, and dairy and eggs and whatever. Okay, step number 2, eliminate added oils. I'm not a believer in this. I would recommend you get your oils, your healthy oils, but if you can get your fats from whole sources like pumpkin seeds, that's always the better. Eliminate processed foods. This is about eating to heal. So when you are trying to heal your body, and remember, we're all trying to heal our body if you're trying to implement an anti-aging program, all foods that increase inflammation, they got to go, okay? If you can eliminate animal products, excess oils, and processed foods from your diet, then you will immediately cause a decrease in inflammation. Moving forward. Another option, if you're not down with veganism, is another very vegetable-licious diet by Dr. Terry Walls, a woman that cured her, well, not cured, but reversed her remitting arthritis, put it into, remitting multiple sclerosis, not arthritis, multiple sclerosis. The Walls protocol for MS, okay? Keep in mind, okay, so you want to get your dark leafy greens, your vegetables that contain sulfur, cabbage and mushroom, fish and meat with a specific focus on organ meat like liver and kidneys, seaweed, nutritional yeast, and fermented foods. Walls Protocol Level 1, okay, these are the different versions of it. Read her book, The Walls Protocol. You got the Level 1, you got the Level 2, you got the Paleo Plus, okay? Check it out. And then you got it like the keto version. Okay, so moving forward. So what's Dr. Wall's opinion on vitamins and supplements? They are a big part of her protocol, but let's see what she has to say.
Hi. Let me talk about vitamins and supplements. I sometimes get asked whether or not people can just take a pill for all these important nutrients. Well, the problem is that most of the pills are synthetic forms of these vitamins and supplements. They won't have the same biologic activity. Plus, in a tomato, there are hundreds, thousands of compounds that are all very helpful to your body and your cells. It's far more critical that you have the food. Now, there are circumstances where supplements may be very beneficial, but for that, I strongly urge that you work with your healthcare practitioner who can do some guidance based on your history and your personal circumstances. The critical thing is to eat greens, sulfur, color, grass-fed meat, organ meat, and seaweed. The most common questions I receive are about supplements versus food. I cover this issue extensively in the Walls Protocol. I talk at length about the food choices and which supplements to consider and why in the Walls Protocol. Pre-order your copy.
And again, I strongly encourage people to read her book, The Walls Protocol. Moving forward. Now, this is an article quickly about Dr. Arthur Janov. I used to think it was pronounced Yanov. He's the guy that created primal scream therapy. I think it actually is Yanov. I think he just pronounces it Janov because he's an American. He was a real piece of work that created primal scream therapy. And the thing is, people may believe any, if you read his book, the dude's a freak. Okay, flat out, the dude's a freak. But the thing is, the benefits of primal therapy are very true. And you can read this on your own, but what's interesting is he also did research in how primal therapy lengthens telomeres and decreases the shrinkage of telomeres. It's very interesting on primal therapy and epigenetics. And that's all for this video series.